Hello there everyone, welcome to another Thursday treat video tutorial by Anna van Lucy Papercrafts. It's October 1st, so I thought it was time for some Halloween treats. So today's project is this cute little treat box here, kind of resembling a cauldron, a little bit of, well, witch's brew here. And inside, I have these, like two of these marshmallow Kit Kat treats, and that's also where I got my color combination from for today. So we're not going to need much. We're going to need a little bit of basic black cardstock, a little bit of magenta madness, and granny apple green, and then maybe a little bit of whisper white just to stamp and punch out our little spider here. So, yeah, let's go ahead and make this cute little thing here. And you can probably fit any kind of snack-sized Halloween treats or candy, chocolate, whatever in here. So, let's see. I've got a lot of tiny bits and pieces here on my surface from that ribbon, that glitter ribbon. I mean, I really love it, but the glitter can get everywhere. So what we're going to need is 2 pieces die cut with one of my favorites from the holiday catalog, the Celebration Labels dies. We're going to need 2 pieces in basic black cut out with the second smallest, and then just one for our label here, Magenta Madness, with the smallest label. Okay, so I've already have that prepared. So we can put that aside for now. Then we're going to need, this is just happens to be a die cut piece here, but I just needed a scrap in granny apple green. So this is not going to stay like this. We're actually going to punch it out. And then we're going to need a strip of basic black, or just, I mean, you can switch out the color. I just figured, well, a cauldron is usually black. So this is a piece of 2 inches by 7 inches, and that's where we're going to do some scoring and cutting. And like I said, just a scrap of whisper white for our little spider. So let's go ahead and make our cauldron, because that's actually the most like complicated. It's not actually a complicated part, but I'm going to put that aside here for a second. So we're going to need our paper trimmer. And I hope I can get all of this on camera here. So these 2 labels, I'm going to score just alongside here because I want this little piece here to not be visible, at least not on the bottom. Okay, so that's what we're going to do first. So let's see here, making sure I'm on camera. You just take your paper trimmer and line it up like right above those round corners here, and score. And we're just going to do that on one side. So just hold it in place. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. Just like that. Okay, that's all we want, just on one side. And we're going to do the same thing with the other piece, lining it up. Okay, you can always kind of check over here if it's somewhat straight. If not, it's not really going to show with this kind of box. Okay, so we have our second piece. And now with this longer one, we're going to score just so we have 2 adhesive strips along the way. So it's 2 inches. We're going to line up our 2 inches, and on both sides we're going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay, and I'm using this side here to get my 1/2 inch. You can also do this one, but okay, just lining it up, making sure it's all straight on there. Oops. Yeah, if you have a long strip like this, it tends to bend depending on how well you get your fingers out of the way. Okay, and second side. Okay, so this is our strip right now. And now we're going to add 2 more score lines on each side along the 7-inch. So the first one we're going to put on is 1 1/8. And then 2 3/8. Okay. And then we'll just turn it around and do the same thing. 1 1/8. And 2 3/8. And these score lines help us create a little bit of a curved side to our cauldron box. Okay, so I think that should be it for our paper trimmer. So this is what you have now. So you have 3 sections along this way, and then you have 1 2 3 4 5 along this way. Okay, and if you want to, you can go ahead and reinforce your score lines. Okay, and with these it's super easy. Just don't even need to use a bone folder. I mean, if you wanted to, you could just double check lining them up. Okay, now we have to put on our adhesive, and it's up to you really what you prefer. If you like the multi-purpose liquid glue, the Tombow, you can use that, so you have a little bit of wiggle room. But just for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use some tear and tape here. And I'm actually going to be a little bit wasteful and put on my tape first and then do my cutting. Now, there we go. And the other side. And you want to make sure, I mean, that's why you could make these smaller, of course, not go with a whole 2-inch. You could just make these a 1/4 inch, but then it's getting really tight with the tear and tape. So that's all we're gonna need. We can make sure it's on there. Okay. Now we want to make sure that we can actually fold it or bend it nicely. So what we're going to do is just cut out some wedges here. So like this, and that's why I'm saying I'm a little bit wasteful right now with my tear and tape. But this way I have a nice full coverage with adhesive. And if you cut a little bit too far, that's not a big problem. So I'm just cutting out some triangles here. And you see, I could have done, like, added the tape afterwards, but then you really have to, you know, hit your angles here. So and I want this to be an easy to make, you know, multiples of kind of box. So, oops, okay, I cut a little bit too farther, but that's fine. Okay, and one more, and then we actually get to a little bit tricky part. Okay, so that's what our piece is going to look like now. Just get that out of the way. Now we can fold these, and it makes it easier to reinforce that with a bone folder. You could have, you could cut these off if you wanted to, just trim them off. But I actually like this nice finished edge here, so I can actually put that back in here, I guess. Can you see? Okay, so now I'm going to use my silicone craft sheet here. It's just going to make it easier a little bit, especially if you're using liquid glue. So we're going to take the backing off of one side, and now we want to line this up. So I'm going to fold that back just so I have that score line. And placing this right in the middle. I'll show you in a second. If you have to, bend these back. That's probably easier to see than like this. Also for you, easier to see right now. So, okay. And then we're just going to push it down. Okay. And this is going to flip up. We're going to glue that down at the very end. Okay, so now we can go ahead and go step by step, lining these up. And I was choosing my measurements here to reach from kind of these 3 anchor points here. So this is where I'm going to go. I'm actually going to take this one off too. If you have a little bit of practice with the tear and tape, especially putting together boxes, then you shouldn't have any trouble putting these in. Okay, so again, I'm just trying to line this corner somewhat up here. Oops. Try not to stick your other part down there. And then the same thing up here. So you have somewhat of a, I don't know if the camera is picking that up. So 1, 2, 3 anchor points. Okay. And we're going to do that all around. There we go. So now we can go all around, pushing down our adhesive there. And now I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue. And really just a tiny bit. So this is where you might want to use just, you know, an almost empty bottle. And we're just going to fold that over. And that's why I liked using the turn tape for the rest of the box, because the adhesive, the liquid glue, you do have to hold in place for a little bit. So we're just going to go ahead and do the second side as well, like that. We're just going to fold it over. And now we can just place it down and use our bone folder and kind of run along those edges there. Again, you could trim those off so you don't have to do this step, but I liked that little finishing touch. So there's, you see, you just want to use a little bit of liquid glue there. Okay. So, okay, now decoration parts pretty much. There's our box. I'm going to stamp my label here. And I used the matching stamp set, Celebration Tidings, so I pulled out the Happy Haunting. And I'm just using some memento here. And I'm going to stamp that right in the middle. So memento ink and photopolymer stamps can be a little bit stubborn sometimes, but I think that worked out nicely. Oh, and we can go ahead and also stamp our little spider while we're having the black ink open. Okay. Right there. Oh, that was a little bit too much ink actually, or too much pressure on my part. So I think that's better. Okay, we're gonna give it one more try here. I think I have a little bit too much ink there on the left. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. That's fine. The legs are a little bit closer together on that part. Okay, so we can put our chocolate in here. So, and it's gonna go like, it's gonna be a tight fit. So, but the good thing is then it can't fall out. And it's usually the problem is these extra ends here, so you may want to go one after another. So there we go, one, and then getting number 2 in here. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put some more weight on those edges down there. Now I want to add some swirls here. At first I was thinking, what would I use these for? You know, in that stamp set. And they're, they seem to be the same image, but they're kind of mirrored, so you might want to use both. And I thought, well, since we're making a cauldron and, you know, it's a magic theme here, witchy theme, we're just going to stamp it. Tone on tone in Magenta Madness. And I wanted to do this one this way. Okay. Like this. And I'm going to use the other one. So they're going to be pink forever now. And then this one here. Okay. Like this. Now, so we have that one ready. We can put that aside and let it dry. Now, I wanted to have a little bit of bubbles going on here. And here's my fun little trick for the day. I used our snowman punch. So I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to put in my Granny Apple Green. And just punch out a lot of extra stuff. And here's a funny idea. Since you have 2 of these sticky, or, you know, stick arms from the snowman, you could even attach those and then it looks like frog soup or something in the cauldron, if you wanted to. Okay. So sometimes just think out of the box. And I'm going to need a little bit of scrap paper here. Let's see. So we're going to use some Granny Apple Green and just a sponge dauber and go all around our snowman here. So if you've seen a little bit of green ink on my fingers today, that's how I got it on there. Okay. Don't want to make it too dark. And then we want to, a little bit in the middle, to have somewhat of an even tone. And then I flip it around and do the same thing, just so it looks nicer from both sides looking at the cauldron. So if you want to put that on your Halloween dinner table, or, you know, for the kids on their desks, then it actually looks nice from both sides. And there's another reason I'm doing two sides. I'll show you in a second. So, well, I've made it darker now, so let's just go. Okay. Now make sure that you don't have your fingers all over it. We're going to let that dry for a second. And I'm going to cut out my little spider here. All right, so there we are. And I'm going to use some black dimensionals since we have them. You know, let's make use of them. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Should be enough. Lining them up, and since we're kind of since we shortened this down here, I'm lining up these 3 dents from the labels. So let's see here, there, there. Okay, there we go. Now our snowman here should be dry. If not, you could just, you know, rub that a little bit on both sides. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to cut poor little snowman, our very sick snowman, in half. And I'm just going to use some liquid glue here, just right on the edge. Again, less is more. You don't want it to go everywhere. And then we're just going to line this up. Okay, I'm trying to get it on there somewhat straight. So, and now our cauldron has a little bit of fun poisonous green bubbles. And now this is the reason why I did it from both sides, because I would kind of have the same one if I would just, you know, use the other side. So I'm actually going to flip this around so we have bubbles 2 different ways. Okay, just make sure then now that you put the glue also on the other side. Again, just lining it up as much as you want to show. Oops. Again, liquid glue, the advantage and disadvantage is that you can still move your paper. So you see you have a little bit of the illusion of green bubbles, something spooky brewing in your little cauldron. Okay, so now finishing touches, we're going to use our glitter organdy ribbon here. Okay, let's see how much we're going to need. I think like that, that should be fine. Wish me luck that the ribbon is going to work out. Well, tying the bow, I mean. The ribbon is awesome. I really love using it for Halloween especially. So, and this way you have a little bit of glitter on here, you know, a little bit of a fun Halloween touch. And at the same time, it's definitely making sure that you can't go anywhere. Okay, let's see here, that looks good. All right, we can just move that a little bit if we wanted to. Okay, so really now our candy can't go anywhere. All right, and now our little spider here. I'm just going to use a tiny bit of a black dimensional here. Usually there, this is actually a combo pack, so of the regular size dimensionals and mini black dimensionals, but I actually got all of the big ones in my package. So that can happen. Okay, let's see here. Maybe we'll put that little spider here this time. I don't want to attach my... Oh, I think I got too much dimensional there. Okay, and just to put a little bit of glitter on there as well, let's add some Wink of Stella because it's Halloween, so why not make it a little bit of a... As you can see, I still haven't replaced mine. It's on its last straw. I'm going to need a new one for the rest of my Halloween crafting. And I do have some really awesome, mainly decoration projects coming up for you. So, but it's Thursday, so it's time for a Thursday treat, right? Okay, and I'm not sure how much trick-or-treating people are going to do this year, so... Anyways, there we go. That's my idea for today's Thursday treat. Just this cute little cauldron box that you can make with the celebration labels dies. I hope you enjoyed this little project today, and thanks for tuning in. Happy stamping. Bye.